Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Facebook Live, Telling It Like It Is. My name is Jade Alberts, the founder of Peer Guidance, sharing knowledge and stories as why I started the Telling It Like It Is. If you do have any questions, please feel free to ask. If you're watching this after the fact on another social media platform, please ask away and we will get back to you. I'd like to thank our sponsor, Evolutionize. They are Alberta's mobile optometry clinic. They're a traditional optometry clinic, except they bring their state-of-the-art 40-foot Winnebago to you. Today's Telling It Like It Is guest is Jillian Murdoch. She's a partner in MNP's private enterprise group. Jillian, thank you for joining me, and how are you today?
Jade, thank you for having me. I'm doing well. It's a beautiful morning. A little cold, but that's all right.
Well, I took the dog for a walk. I think at about 7:15 this morning, and I was like, "All right, this is it's going to be a good day. It's nice outside." So that's the extent of my being outside today. So I also one of the things I like talking about is how we met, and I was at a your Tech the Halls event in December, and I met one of your colleagues, and they introduced us, and we met for a coffee, and I guess here we are. I didn't personally I didn't realize how much MNP does in the small business group, so we had a really good conversation about that.
Yeah, MNP really is, I guess you could even argue it was a small business itself when it started, starting back in Brandon about 60 years ago, and um, have now become a national firm, but never lost sight of what we like to call the mid market. So we really focus on that smaller business to mid market business, not looking to go after those uh, from a I guess from an accounting point of view, those big, we'll call them the WestJets of Canada. So
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I thought it was interesting, and obviously we're going to discuss this a little more detail, and I'm looking forward to this conversation. So I'll give a brief introduction here, and then away we go. So Jillian is a partner in MMP's private enterprise group and the leader of the technology niche in Calgary. She has over 15 years experience in public practice, with extensive experience in leading audits, reviews, and other assurance and compilation engagements. These include a variety of private companies and not-for-profit organization, owner-managed companies, and closely held entities operating in the oil field services, manufacturing, recreation, retail, and resort management. Jillian also helps facilitate firm course on account and assurance standards, audit strategy, and technology. So you briefly discussed, how it started, and MMP was a small business, but let's talk a little bit more about you're so much more and how you support the entrepreneurs and small businesses. So, please share this story and how you help the community out.
For sure. So, I mean, myself, obviously, I'm in a small part of what MNP is as a whole. So we're a full service firm, providing everything from business consulting to tax to assurance services. I mean, you name it, we've probably got some expert there that can help you with that problem. But ultimately, we have that spectrum of services to offer, but we're always looking to customize that. So when you're talking about, a small business, it's not like we're trying to take an approach that we used on a large company and trying to make that work for a small business. It's always customized to what that person, that company needs in that particular situation.
So I guess when you say customize, I mean I like hearing that it's not a cookie cutter approach, so to say. So how
Right.
would you? I mean obviously you're focusing on the technology niche in Calgary here, but I know outside of tech or whatever it may be, how would you go about this process of customizing it?
It's always meeting. We really like to meet with our clients or our potential clients and understand what the needs are, um, really what's ultimately keeping them up at night, and figuring out how can we help in that situation. So, as a small business or as a startup, your needs from I guess an accountant are not going to be, this huge scope of services. You're really looking for your day-to-day bookkeeping and getting your taxes in. And so that we can do. And then, as things grow, we're looking to grow with you and figuring out, as your needs become more complex, making sure that we're meeting all of those complexities for you and working with you. And again, it goes back to those meetings and not just that once a year touch point, but making sure we understand in advance so that we can plan.
No, I mean, I love hearing that, because a lot of people will say, oh, don't talk to the big firms, as they're out of touch. They're not they don't care about you. They're not going to, give you the time of day. And then, I mean, hearing you say that, I mean, people still have to talk to people, and people buy from people trust people, and that's what keeps them. And hearing that is very important to me when I tell people, saying, oh, you know what, if you need, go to MNP. I have no problem saying that, because I know exactly that you guys will take care of them. So I think that's a very, a very important point to get across today.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Yeah. Yeah. That is so key to our business, is just those constant touch points and making sure we understand what's going on throughout the year.
So I guess when you do see a lot of startups or maybe small businesses, are you focused more on the strategy or actually scaling, or both? How do you break it down?
So there's really, in thinking about that question, there's two areas that MNP has that can help those we'll call them brand new businesses. So we have our entrepreneur program, our self-employment program, which is funded by the Alberta government, and we also run it out of Saskatchewan too. So that is, if you're looking for some strategy around bookkeeping and tax planning, and just sort of building up that knowledge base. And then we also have what we call Ease, which is really a financial management tool that we're starting to roll out. It started with our Indigenous team, and now we're rolling it out to all of our clients. And it's ultimately a bookkeeping tool, because coming at it from, well, I guess from my point of view, from an accountant point of view, the bookkeeping is a huge part of your business, and there's not always necessarily the expertise there or the capacity to be doing that bookkeeping. So Ease is meant to provide that support and give you those reports on a monthly basis, or whatever you determine are your needs. But yeah, we see Ease as what we think will be a hugely helpful tool to our startup to small businesses going forward, until they have that capacity to hire on a full-time CFO or controller.
No, you made such a good point there, and I know I start with a financial analysis of all the businesses I see, and I think that one of the greatest, I don't know, I guess, faults of companies is they don't know their numbers, and they don't know what to spend their money on, and I find that they could be wasting it on things that might grow their bottom line more. So having somebody come in and really teach them, because not everybody has a financial background. Actually, very few people do, and they just think once, okay, we're spending this, it's working. But until you actually review those numbers, it's I think it's an eye opener for a lot of companies once someone sits down with them.
For sure. Yeah.
So
it allows you to do some forecasting out from there too. Not always.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's. And when you're doing the forecasting, it doesn't have, I mean, you can make a 1, 3, 5-year forecast. That doesn't mean it's going to stay the same. I mean, you could do it in 60 days.
Right.
I mean, I've done that, and I've seen companies do that. So it's something that's extremely important, that your numbers, what you need to sell, your break even, who owes you money. It is so important.
Yeah.
I'm talking to Jillian Murdoch, partner private enterprise at MNP. If you want to check on their website, it's mmp.ca, or you can go right into the comment sections, click on it, and it will take you directly to the website. So I want to talk about Calgary and Alberta's small business and entrepreneurial community a little bit. So, please share what you see, maybe a little bit of forecasting for what is needed for it to grow and prosper.
What's interesting to me about Calgary and really Canada as a whole is ultimately we are a country built on small businesses. We're not the United States, so what keeps us going are our small businesses. So they're hugely important, and again, that's where MNP's focus remains too, is on supporting that mid-market enterprise here within Calgary and within the country as a whole. But that doesn't come without its challenges in the city. We see it downtown. We know that there's lots of vacancy downtown as far as space. Uh, we hear it on the news about what's happening with the oil industry and that impact here on us within just Alberta. So, the news is it's somewhat hard to put a positive spin on it, but we've been here before, and we always seem to work our way out of that. So
Yeah.
and I mean, for us, business is, we're maybe somewhat of an indicator of what's happening in the market, but um, coming at it from an assurance standpoint and people having reporting needs, and clients are still out there, and they're still doing things. So I mean, yes, the news, I guess, can have that negative spin on it and seem like the doom and gloom, but I think we're carrying on. Things are still happening.
I agree. I wish, and that's one of the reasons why I started this, telling it like it is, with my contacts in the media industry. I went to them and said, why don't we start doing something that puts a positive spin on what's going on in the city? Because, in my opinion, it gets no love, and it should, rather than focusing on the one restaurant that closed. Yes, that's unfortunate, but what about the other 30 that opened, or whatever industry it may be?
Right.
And there are a lot of great things going on in this community. There are businesses that are thriving in that, in the smaller end, it might be 250,000 to $1 million in sales or profit or revenue, but they're having a good life. They're starting to hire people. They're starting to rent some of this office space, and I'm with you on the small business is the heartbeat of Alberta and Canada, for that matter. I mean, it's something that the government needs to focus on, and people really need to start shouting from the treetops.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
So I know with obviously with being a national company, and people have that negative sometimes, saying, oh, don't work with the big people. The big people don't look after the little people, yada yada yada, and we all know that's not true. So what's next for MNP in the small business world, or how can they connect with you for help?
There's several ways. Obviously, you can always connect with me directly, um, but we're trying to do more and more. You probably see our billboards around, so we're really trying to build the brand recognition, but balancing that with, again, like you say, not this perception of, oh, you know, they're this big firm that we're not going to have those personal touch points. So it's really continuing on with our same business model that it's always been, is that those personal connections and maintaining those relationships. And so you for us, you meet your team, and that we do everything we can to make sure that team is the team that sticks with you, unless of course you want to change, or there's some kind of outside factor that creates a change for you. But we really pride ourselves on that knowledge and building that that trusted advisor relationship with our clients.
So I guess I kind of have one question. If there's, do you guys ever, when you're going through your strategy and working with your clients,
Mm-hmm.
is there any chance that, or do you guys ever say, you know what, we can't help you, you should go talk to somebody else, or is it something that you try and solve in-house?
You know, from whenever we would say we can't help you, there's some kind of external factor that's creating that. So whether it's as simple as there's some kind of independence conflict, or if it's coming at it from an assurance side of things, like if we're doing the audit or something like that,
Yeah.
and the company is too big in scope for the firm, then we would hand it off. But we always will, in that situation, want to make sure that we're on top of that. So there's always the time to plan for that. But never, never a scenario where we would just say, no. There's always some kind of reason driving that, and then often it's handed off to someone or provided, given references that, oh, well, maybe you want to try here because they can help you. So, but then oftentimes it opens doors to other opportunities within the firm. So maybe we're not doing the audit anymore, but maybe we're doing something more on the consulting side. So always trying to maintain that relationship and not, hopefully not lose that relationship in its entirety.
No, for sure. I mean, and and we discussed this about how you guys are always, you do what's right for the client. So it's always something that it doesn't matter what that may be, and a lot of us have walked down that road saying, hey, you know what? It's time for us to move on.
Right. Yeah.
Either you've gotten too big for us, which is a great thing, which has meant we've helped you grow to the point where we have to let you go. So
it's a pretty good success story.
Exactly, and that's one of the pure guidance taglines that I use. Is I say, our goal is for you not to be our customer.
Right.
And, if we're in that 2 or 4 or 5 year range, I said, well, we're not helping you grow, and you're not growing. So there's something wrong here. So that's it's always a touchy subject, but I have no problem saying, hey, I can't wait for you not to be my client anymore.
Right.
My last question, Jillian, is always the same. And it is, if you had one piece of advice for a startup, small business, or an entrepreneur, what would that be?
I think it's just surrounding yourself with a strong team of professionals or trusted advisors. That's so key to set yourself up for success, that you have that good advice and that good base of business practice that's happening around you. And I think that's just key. It's just, I would hope, one less thing that's keeping you up at night in regards to your business.
No, I mean, that's great advice, right? I mean, it's even if you're a solopreneur, it's something that, excuse me, it's important to have people to talk to.
Yeah.
Whether that's going out and networking, whether it's coming to Founders Coffee to see others like-minded entrepreneurs, or you put together a group of people that you just meet for a beer once a month to run things over with. I mean, it's asking for help is not a sign of weakness, and I always stress that someone's going to be there for you. Somebody's already gone through what you've gone through. So I mean, I just love that advice. I try and give that advice on a daily basis and take it myself.
Yes, yeah, for sure.
No, Jillian, thank you so much for spending time coming on and sharing your knowledge with us today. I think that it'll be a little bit of an eye opener when people realize how much MNP actually works with the small business, the startup, new business community. So it's I'm extremely happy, and I mean, I love for you. I mean, you guys will obviously keep on doing business, and it's also one of Canada's greatest success stories, as you said, starting as a small business out of Brandon and growing into a national enterprise and company that hasn't forgotten, what's got them there and where they started. So it's a great story, and thank you again.
Thank you, Jade. This is awesome.
Excellent. And if anybody has any questions, please feel free to answer. And thank you again to Evolutionize, Alberta's mobile optometry clinic, for sponsoring today's talk. Again, Jillian, thank you very much. And I hope everybody has a great day. Bye-bye.